Hi, and a huge Christmas welcome to Steve's Kitchen. This one goes out to my wonderful gluten-free friends, in particular you, Anne and Brenda. You can't go through Christmas without a wonderful mince pie, and I'm going to show you today how I make gluten-free mince pies, and we're also going to be making gluten-free mincemeat as well. So let me get on and show you how. Now, we'll just say, although these gluten-free mince pies are absolutely delicious, that I have got on my channel also videos for regular mince pies, 3 different types of mince pies, and mincemeat using suet as well. If you want to watch those, I'll leave a link at the end of the video. Now, we're going to start our recipe off by making the mincemeat, and when I make mincemeat, I always use a suet, which is not vegetarian friendly. So today I'm going to be using Copha, which is vegetarian friendly. Now, I know most of you may not be able to get Copha. This is basically a coconut solid. When it's opened, it looks like that. What I'm going to be doing is taking about 6 ounces, 175 grams of this, and I'm just going to grate it with a cheese grater. So I've now grated that into the bowl, and I'm just going to take a couple of spoonfuls of gluten-free flour, pop it over the top of the grated fat, and then just mix it through. I'm just coating that over so it doesn't all stick together. And then we can just set that aside in the fridge until we need it. Now, sweet mincemeat starts with lots of dried fruit. So I've got 2 pounds, that's about 1 kilo of dried fruit. Now, I'm not using any special dried fruits. It's all about the flavors in here. So I've just got a regular pack of simple dried fruit, which has sultanas, currants and raisins, and mixed dried peel in there. I'm going to be using the zest and the juice of 2 oranges and 2 lemons. One of the lemons I've used to coat my apple, stop it going brown. Plenty of spice going in here. I've got 2 teaspoons of mixed spice. I've got half a teaspoon of nutmeg and also a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then I've taken 3 Granny Smith's apples and I've diced them up nice and small. And as I say, I've coated these ones in lemon juice just to stop them going brown. And finally, 250 grams, that's 8 ounces of brown sugar. Now, all these ingredients basically go into your mixing bowl. So I'm almost there. I've got all that beautiful zest and now the juice from the oranges and the lemons. And of course, last in there is our vegetable suet. I'm just going to pour that over the top. Now, I know some of you are going to be looking at this and thinking this is a lot of mincemeat, and it's a very easy recipe to halve, but we use a lot of mincemeat over Christmas, so I really think it's worth making the full amount. Now, just get the spoon in there, or even get your hands in there. We want to mix this through thoroughly. Now it's all mixed together there, and the smell coming off there is delicious. Now I've preheated an oven to 110 degrees Celsius, that's 225 Fahrenheit, and I've got a large baking tray here, big flat bottom baking tray. We're just going to pour all of our mixture into there, and then just level it over. So now I'm going to pop that in our oven, and it's going to cook for 2 hours and become lovely and soft and tender. So there it is, into the oven. Now I've just got my mincemeat out of the oven. It's been in there a couple of hours, and we can take the foil off the top now, and that smells absolutely delicious. I'm going to give that a stir through now. The scent and the smell coming off of this is just wonderful. Now, as an option, you could add 4 or 5 tablespoons of brandy or sherry into this as it cools down. I'm not going to with this one. I'm going to let it completely cool down, and then we're going to put this into your favorite jars, and it's ready to use. So I've made up my mincemeat, and now I'm going to make a batch of mince pies. Now clearly I'm not going to use all of that mincemeat. I'm going to make up a small batch now, but the ingredients below can be adjusted to make the amount of mince pies that you require. Now, because we're not using gluten, I'm going to be using about 1/3 cup of water, and I'm just taking a teaspoon of Psyllium Husks, dropping it in that water, and then just mix it through. Now this will turn into a nice sort of gelatine, which will act a little bit like the gluten. But just to add a little flavour to that, I'm going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract as well. Mix that through and just set it aside. So now the pastry. We've got 300 grams, that's about 2.5 cups of all-purpose gluten-free flour. Now you can pretty much choose whatever brand that you prefer. I'm adding about 1/3 cup of Castor sugar or Superfine sugar. Then you'll need a teaspoon of baking powder. Now do make sure it's a gluten-free baking powder. And I like to add just a little pinch of salt into that as well. And now I'll just use a fork to mix that through gently. Now we're going to need about 150 grams of 5 ounces of some sort of butter. Now I'm going to make this one completely vegetarian, and so I'm going to use a butter substitute. And although these are lactose-free and dairy-free, they really are very creamy. And then we're just going to rub the flour and the fat together until we get like a loose breadcrumb. So now we've got this lovely loose breadcrumb. I'm now going to take our Psyllium Husk mix, just pour it over the top there. And again, I'm just going to mix that in to a nice dough. Now, because we haven't got gluten in here, we don't have to worry about over mixing. And we have a fairly sticky dough here, so I'm going to put this in the fridge and let it chill down for about half an hour so it's easier to roll out and manage. So now our dough is out of the fridge, it's nice and chilled down. I'm just going to add some flour to our work surface and a little flour on our rolling pin, and we can start to roll our dough out now. Now, because this pastry is gluten-free, we don't want to go too thin. There isn't the gluten to hold this together. So a little more than 1/4 inch. I'm going to cut some circles out now, and we can just lift those up. Then I'm going to lift that over to my little pie tin and just ease it into shape. And I've got a jar of that beautiful mincemeat here, and I'm just going to put a nice portion into each of the mince pies. And then using a slightly smaller cutter, I'll just cut some tops. And we just lift those on top of our mince pies. Then I'm just going to use the fork to crimp around the edges of the pies. And then a couple of little slits in the top of each pie just to let the steam out. Now I've preheated my oven to 160 degrees Celsius, so that's 310 Fahrenheit. And here are my pies. They're going in there now. We're going to cook those for about 20 minutes. Just keep an eye on them. And once they're cooked, we're just going to take them out of the oven and let them completely cool down. And there are my gluten-free mince pies. They look fantastic. I've still got 4 full jars of mincemeat as well, so I'll be making a lot of these coming up to Christmas. Let's give one of these a try. To my gluten-free friends out there, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I can tell you, they are absolutely delicious. Look, if you're gluten intolerant, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please share the love, give this a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I love hearing your comments down below. Have a wonderful Christmas. Be good. I'll see you next time. As always, that was a heap of fun, and I'll leave links here to some of my other Christmas videos on Steve's Kitchen. Please get across and take a look. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Be good. Merry Christmas.